So this period of time we're in right now in the Jewish calendar is known as the 3 weeks. A lot of people call it Bein HaMetzarim, which means between the straits, but we call it 3 weeks. Why are we so particular about calling it the 3 weeks, not Bein HaMetzarim like other people do? And the answer is because Bein HaMetzarim means between the two negativities. The negativities of Shivasa B'Tammuz, when the walls of Israel were breached, the Yerushalayim were breached, and the massacre started, and Tishab'av, which is when the base of Israel was destroyed and the destruction came to an end. That's the focus of calling it Bein HaMetzarim. We focus on the 3 weeks because the number 3 represents what this is all about. We saw the destruction of the first and the second temple happen in these 3 weeks, but in reality, the number 3 is a key over here because 3 is all about the third temple. Rebuilding. We know that whatever God commands us to do, God does himself. So if God commands us not to desecrate a shul and not to damage a shul, then how does God go on and not just damage a shul, but damage and destroy the base of Mikdash? How could God do that? God expects us to treat a shul with respect, and he destroys the entire 2 base of Mikdashes? That doesn't make sense.
Some people won't even spit by Aleinu.
Some people spit by Aleinu, exactly. In the base of Mikdash, they didn't spit by Aleinu. You're not allowed to spit by Aleinu. So how does God just destroy it? So there's one scenario where not only is it acceptable to damage a shul, but it's actually encouraged to damage a shul.
Rebuild.
That is exactly.
Renovations.
The demo. If it's a demo job before you rebuild. So when we call the 3 weeks, we're reminding ourselves constantly that the destruction of the 2 temples, you also learned that this morning, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's built in, it came pre-programmed.
There you go, the destruction, it's hardwired Chabad.
Yeah.
The destruction of the 2 temples was for the rebuilding of the 3rd. That's what we're going to remember all the time, that yes, it's damaging, and yes, it's painful, and yes, it's difficult, but at the same time, we also know that
So what's the point of fasting?
Because the fact is, tragedies did happen, sins did happen, but it's a whole dichotomy of 2 opposites together, which we experience. Tremendous sadness with the destruction, but tremendous joy of what's happening in the future. And this year, Tishab'av falls out on Shabbos. And Shabbos, we only have the good part of Tishab'av, not the bad part. On Shabbos, we don't fast. On Shabbos, we don't mourn. On Shabbos, you're allowed to do almost everything that you could do on Tishab'av.
And on Sunday,
you can do. Sunday, it gets pushed off to Sunday, but Shabbos itself, we only have the positive parts. So Shabbos, we joy. Shabbos, we celebrate. Shabbos, we eat meat, we drink wine. Shabbos is and we have the benefit of the Gili of Mashiach being revealed. As Mashiach is born, the power of Mashiach is born on Tishab'av. So this year, we only have the positive, not the negative. So it's a special Shabbos. There's a famous story of the Helik Ruzhna. Helik Ruzhna, his Chassidim used to take Tishab'av very lightly. People joke around Tishab'av also to show that this is just a temporary phase, but it's ultimately for something better. So one year, his Chassidim were playing a prank, and in the shul had a skylight. What they did was that they had like a noose. Every time they would lower him down, they would lower down the noose and they would grab somebody and pull him up. At one time, when the Chassidim were pulling up one of the guys who walked through and they grabbed him, they realized it was the Helik Ruzhna himself. He had pretty much yanked up to the skylight. Once they got closer to the skylight, they realized what they had done. They were in shock and they lowered him down quickly. And the Helik Ruzhna, hanging in the middle of the sky, says, Eivish to Eivish, so look at your children. They don't know how to appreciate this yontif you've given them. It's time to take it away. It's time to get rid of it. So even he realized, we've got to show Tishab'av is something we want to get rid of already. All the negativity. We just want to keep the ultimate purpose of what is there, which is for the rebuilding of the 3rd base of English. And interesting enough that the Shabbos of Tishab'av this year also falls down on Shabbos Chazayin. Shabbos Chazayin is a Shabbos of vision. And because the Haftarah is about Chazayin Yishalom. And this Shabbos, when we go to sleep this Friday night, we're going to get a vision of the 3rd base of Mikdash. Even though we're not necessarily aware of it, we're not conscious of it. But Shabbos morning, we should wake up with a little bit more of a yearning of the rebuilding of the 3rd base of Mikdash from that little revelation the soul gets. So Tishab'av, we have these 2 opposites together. So too just like Tishab'av, the 2 opposites, Tishab'av, the Shabbos Parshas Devarim, also you have 2 opposites. Number 1 is we started a new Chumash Devarim. Unlike the first 4 Chumashim, which God said and Moshe dictated, Moshe wrote it down while God spoke. Chumash Devarim, Moshe Rabbeinu wrote himself. He wrote it on his own. Hashem didn't tell him. He wrote it with his own Ruach HaKodesh. Also, the previous Chumashim were written to the people going into Israel, especially by Midbar, to the Jews in the Midbar. Now we're talking about the Jews going into Israel. It's a new generation. It's a new group of people. So on one hand, the people going into Israel, it's going to be a big pull for them because they've got to work the land. They've got to engage with the land. They're going to lose spirituality somewhat. But on the other hand, this is fulfilling God's ultimate purpose of transforming the world from negative to positive. So it's just like Shabbos this week, Devarim. It's a new generation of new people going into the land of Israel. They're going to have to work the land and may not be able to learn as much as they did when in Midbar. Yet, at the same time, they're fulfilling God's ultimate purpose. So too, Tishab'av, even though on the outside it looks like a negative time, but ultimately this is fulfilling the ultimate purpose of rebuilding the third base of Mikdash. This is what should be on our mind the whole time. That yes, even though we're minimizing in joy, but we're minimizing in order to bring about the greatest joy, and that's what it's all about. Awakening, being excited for the great joy that's going to come, and hopefully this year Tishab'av we will be rebuilding the third base of Mikdash. We're not rebuilding it; it's just going to come. The third one is going to come from Shemayim, unlike the first two which we had to build. The third one is going to descend. So that should be the best movie. This Tishab'av is watching the base of Mikdash come down and park itself right on top of the Dome of the Rock.
Amen.
Amen.
Fine.
Cheers.